Welcome back to another episode of the Lancescurv podcast. I have to give credit where credit is due. You do know that I read all of my comments. Sometimes I get busy and I don't get a chance to respond to all of them, but I see them. And when I have the time, and I'm going to make the time to respond to everybody. This show was inspired by someone in the comments section from the show that I did yesterday, The Raw Realities of America. And her name, I say her because it's a picture of a female as the avatar, is Keeping It Real Hotline. And the quote reads is this, and the way she said it, I've heard it in similar terms in similar ways, but the way she said it was something that stuck on my mind today. Diane, welcome on in. Sister Queen, good evening to you. Always glad to have you here. It's always a pleasure and an honor. But this is what she wrote, Keeping It Real Hotline. I don't know if she's a regular YouTuber who makes videos or, you have a channel, but you don't make the videos, whatever. But if you want to slide by there and subscribe, well, it's fine with me. She said, well, Lance, you can't blame the white man for this shit. Black people in America don't want to unify and build together. Women don't want to be with a black man unless they're rich, making it six figures. These young dudes don't want to work. They walk around with their pants hanging off their ass, showing their underwear, walking around looking hopeless. Homosexual activities is so bad in the black community that it's spreading AIDS and HIV and herpes from both male and females. Black people don't want to accept accountability and don't want to be responsible for anything. I know I've been all over America, basically saying that she's been all over America and she's seen these conditions. Okay, those are her words. And I agree with much of what she said, but I want to add on something also and clear some things up. Kudos to all of the black men and women, young and old, who are doing the right thing. I don't feel that they get enough media coverage. Welcome on in, Khadijah. Yes, I see you. Thanks for being here. It's always an honor. But kudos to those who are ambitious, have vision, drive, motivation, and focus. Because it's so easy to get pulled into activity and behavior and emotionalism on frivolous things that are not important because of the frustrations that we all feel. But I have to agree. But I have to say it's not all of us. And the media does focus on those of us who, as they say, act ghetto. And it paints a picture to those who want to think that way, and to those who don't even have contact with us, that this imagery precedes any contact. So people will think, people from other countries, people who live in areas where they're not in contact with us in general, their opinion of us is molded in a way where they assume that all of us are a certain way. Now, I can't go all over America and get an exact percentage of who acts in a crazy way, sagging pants, not wanting to work, spreading diseases. Well, this also happens in all races, most races. From what I'm hearing and what I see, it doesn't happen as much with Asians, with Indians from India who come to America to start businesses. I'm not saying they're saints, because many of them don't like us. And like I said, it doesn't matter what they think of you when you carry yourself in a dignified manner. You obey the law. You tell the truth, either way, if it stings or not. That's the way I've always carried myself, no matter what. See? But it's those who are that way that will always, when it comes to it, blames the white man. Now, I'm not trying to get white man points by turning in on our own so I can bring the scalp of the ghetto black people to the white man to try to get my white card, because I'll never get it, never wanted it, never tried to fit in. But enough is enough. This is 2025. 2025. Malcolm X was assassinated in 1965. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in 1968. I was a little baby when Malcolm X was assassinated. And I know many of you who have Instagram pages can identify with what Malcolm has said, even if you're too young to have overlapped his lifespan. The things he said back then are so true for now. And I have to ask myself, and I have to ask everybody listening, why is it taking so long for the truth? And there are many others who have spoken truth. But why is it taking so long for us to not see that this man spoke truth and many before us? Yet we have many people on social media, on YouTube, who want to be the next prophet, want to be the next revolutionary. They want that attention, but they ain't doing a damn thing. We have to do what we have to do as it's placed in our path. And if you take care of what's in your path, and I take care in what's in my path, the whole world would change immediately. It's like a neighborhood where if every neighbor said, I'm going to sweep the front of my house and keep it clean, I'm going to keep my lawn trimmed properly, landscaped, but I'm also going to go over my property line and take care of 25% of the next door neighbors with their permission. So if you go over your property line a little bit and overlap mine, the whole place, the whole neighborhood would look just beautiful. So it doesn't mean we have to call for some large movement where I'm the leader and you have to follow me. No, we're not dumb. So if we take care of influencing the youngsters around us, in our inner circles, in our families, even the older folks, they may not like us when we show up to the cookout because they're going to say, oh, here they come with that Malcolm X talk. And it doesn't mean you always have to speak in that manner. There's a time and place for everything. But it's time, long overdue, for accountability. The Malt Network, welcome on in, Sweet Berry 32. Yes, Malcolm was a prophet. We can't deny that. But it's fashionable now, with the ease of getting a microphone and a YouTube channel and putting on the various costumes that you want to imply is a part of your background, right? There's so many people that get fooled out here because we want to have people hear what we have to say. And lots of times there's nothing backing it up. There's no sincerity. And we got to stop the foolishness of what we're doing. But there comes a time when we as Black people must look in the mirror and tell the truth. Now, before I continue on, I want to say another thing. I like to cover my bases. We have 3 black women in the thumbnail. And you may not know it, but they're all in the process of getting arrested. I watch a lot of police YouTube videos, which features everybody, all colors, all races. But I have a special feeling when I see that black face. And I look at it, and I know it's not all of our sisters and all of our brothers. Well, why didn't you put some brothers up there? I only had but so much space. This is just the way it worked out while I stole a screenshot off of various videos that I can put up to give a certain feel. I'm not trying to portray all of our sisters as being out of their mind. No, these represent some, not all. Let's just squash that. You know, I do not hate black women. I love black women. But when it comes time to straightening those out that need to straightening out, I'm going to tell my truth. Right? But there's no agenda of hate and portraying us at our worst. But this is reality because this stuff is already out there. Kudos to the black sisters out there that are doing the right thing, that are highly desirable, like the ones in the chat room right now. And the ones who are silently watching right now. I just wanted to get that straight. We know the system has not been kind to us. We know racism exists. We know slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, mass incarceration, and a long list of injustices still follow us today. I will never deny that history, nor will I pretend the system is fair. But here's the hard truth. Many of us use that same system as an excuse to avoid responsibility for our own lives. And until we get that act together, this is something that we have to continue to speak about. Accountability. Because it's so easy to point the finger. It's easy to point the finger at the white man. It's easy to say the system is against me. But what happens when we use that as a permanent excuse to remain broken, unaccountable, and reckless? See, we are not powerless. We know better. We know what it takes to live disciplined lives. But too many of us choose not to. That is not the white man's fault. That is on us. You see, it ain't easy getting up in the morning sometime when you have to go to work to take care of your family. But it's something that you have to do. How many times have you experienced the alarm clock going off and you're like, oh God, especially when it's Monday morning. It's a little easier when it's Friday. Now I'm speaking on those who have those traditional schedules. This is why we'll say, to a coworker, is this your Monday? Is this your Tuesday? Or is this your Friday? See, your Friday might be Tuesday. But whatever your Monday is, it's the hardest because you got to get up and you have a whole week ahead of you. But since you are disciplined, and since you know when the weekend comes, you may have to cut the lawn, wash the laundry, or do some shopping, as well as family activities. If you have a family, you know that you have a little bit of relief, hopefully, when that time comes. Because you're disciplined. You fantasize about not having to get up to go to work, but you know you are responsible. And it angers you when you get to the red light at the end of your block or the major street near you, and you get caught by the red light, and you see guys that have been hanging out all night long, pants sagging, laughing, having the time of their life. So they think. But they want a handout. They want it easy. But it's not that way. But you carry on. Kudos to you who have that discipline. My father taught me discipline, and it helped me. Even in the hedonistic times of my life that I always speak about, the seed was always in me. And I thank my parents and I thank my community, because all of us, my inner circle of friends that are brothers to me now, more so, that we all had the same feel that undergirded us. But I'm sick and tired of seeing my people sabotage themselves and then cry racism as a cover immediately in those cases when it may not be that. It's not always the case. When a white cop pulls you over and you got a brake light busted and your registration is expired and you have no license, and he asks you to get out of the vehicle because now you're under arrest, and you say, I'm not saying anybody here who's listening, but to those who say, oh, is it because I'm black? No, Negro. You got a busted tail light, no registration and no license. Why? And you're driving. Man, these crackers, man, these crackers. And there are times when it is that. How many of you have seen the TikTok or Instagram video where there's a cop that pulls over a black woman? She's not 20 years old, 30 years old. She's mature. She has a nice vehicle. She hands over her documentation, and he doesn't like her. He has that attitude, and he goes to the back of her vehicle. And I don't know what he used, but he, in broad daylight, smashed her brake light and then told her, oh, you have a broken brake light. Now I have to give you a ticket for that. She accepted the ticket, but let him know there's repercussions behind this, because this was on his body cam, and she stood outside of the vehicle to look at what he did, and he asked her, why are you dressed like that with this black robe on? And all she said is one word. She said, judge. And he said, well, I'm not a judge. What are you saying? Are you saying you a judge? You don't look like a judge. And she said, what is a judge supposed to look like? And then he realized that he pulled these shenanigans with a judge. And he didn't know. That was blatant racism. Why didn't you tell me you were a judge? No, she doesn't have to tell you anything. That's how America works. So we're not speaking about those instances that are there in abundance, overwhelming. I'm not trying to minimize reality. I'm just speaking about these ratchet Negroes that come out here, act a fool, and then want to cry racism at the end of the day. You see what I mean? But I'm sick and tired of that. Yes, the system is corrupt. Yes, reparations are owed. But while we wait on reparations, what do we do with the time that we have now? Do we throw it away by blaming and complaining and pointing fingers? Or do we take control of what we can control? What we can control. Like I always say, we have two circles around us. The circle of concern and the circle of influence. We can be concerned about World War III all we want, but there's so many things going on with these different countries that we don't even know about. One person can't stop that. Not even a leader. but you can wash your musty backside. You can clear out the trash from your yard. You can clean up your speech. You can try to learn 1 or 2 things a day. We don't have to go to the library anymore. We can Google stuff. And not just Google, because there's all type of search engines around. You see? We can at least learn 1 thing a day about a different culture, a different country, or how to fix something, or just we have it all. Because back when I was coming up, I used to have to walk up to Lefferts Boulevard, right off of Liberty Avenue in Queens, and go to the library. If it was snowing, if it was cold, if it was pouring down raining, if I had something to do as far as my schoolwork is concerned, I had to find my backside there. And things weren't always up to date. You might have had to do a biography on somebody, a report, and they died 2 years ago. But it may say they were born in 1943 and a dash and nothing else, which means they're alive. Right now, we get all of our information up to date, but we're just as ignorant as ever. The white man becomes the symbol of the system. But the truth is, when many of us say it's the white man's fault, what we really mean is, I don't want to accept responsibility for my own actions. That's the root of the problem. And I'm not trying to be Barack Obama and say, pull your pants up and all this and all that. I understand. As a black man who grew up in America and lived there many years, I'm not there anymore. But I understand all of the pressures and frustrations and factors that go into crushing our souls. So I'm not going to act like I'm exempt from that, or I don't know anything about that. You Negroes, you're off the chain. No, I know about it. There are times I've lost my cool. But over time, I sharpened my emotional intelligence and knew how to divert my anger, because coming up, I had a heck of a temper. You see? Charles Wilson, welcome on in. Yes, a great night it is. I'm enjoying myself here with my family. But right now, I'm going to lay out the areas where our people might stop playing the blame game. This is for them. We're going to speak boldly because I care. Raw, because I'm tired of the lies. If we don't change, the next generation will suffer worse than we did, because the blueprint is already there. And our lowly behavior is expected by many people in society. It's already expected. It's almost, when in public, there are times that I've seen parents or a mother or a father with their children riding the subway or riding the bus or sitting down waiting to get seated at a restaurant. And the children are sitting there composed, mannerable, and waiting for their parents to tell them what to do. They're not all over the place. And they'll get compliments. I've complimented mothers and fathers on how their children have behaved in public, because I've seen the worst. You all know I drove a bus for many years. Even growing up in New York City, we've seen it. But I have an intimate insight dealing with the public in all shapes and forms, as many of you have, so you know I'm not lying. Right? But the bottom line is that I do compliment them. But at the same time, we shouldn't have to. Yeah, it's good to do that. Don't get me wrong. But we shouldn't have to compliment parents on their well-behaved kids, because it should be the norm. That should be normal behavior. But it's shocking when you see well-behaved black children. Not in every case. The expectations are low because of the ratchet amongst us. That's a fact. Using the system as an excuse for poor choices will never build strong families, strong communities, or strong futures. Excuses are not solutions. The word is accountability. Even when Mike Tyson was coming up as a young fighter, and he might have got a first-round devastating knockout, and the announcer would come up to interview him after the bout. And it looked like his performance was flawless. And they would ask him, Mike, how do you rate your performance? Well, basically, I say I think I rate a 5.5 because I could have done it much more faster. In the delivery of my uppercut, I could have been more on point. It knocked him out, but it wasn't the best performance. I can improve, and I need to go back into the gym to work on this like Custom always told me. He could have said, yeah, I knocked him out. That was spectacular, but that doesn't leave room for growth. So our lack of accountability across the board, it stifles our growth. We lack accountability. We feel entitled. We walk around like somebody owes us something. You got to do it for yourself. And before I go down my list, I want to say it way. The bottom line, when I used to go to the gym and work out, I didn't really want anybody spotting me and helping me with the weight. No. Just in case there was a mishap or a disaster, you want a spotter. But oftentimes, I had training partners and also trained alone because I knew it was my effort under that weight, whatever movement or exercise I was doing, I had to be the one to push. So I had to be accountable to lift the weight with the prescribed amount of repetitions to get the result that I wanted. It was me who had to do that. I didn't want any shortcuts. I wanted to righteously suffer so I can see the results. I wasn't there for cosmetics. I wasn't there for show. I was very serious, and that's the way we need to be serious in our lives. So when your parents, if you're younger, or whoever's raising you, it could be your grandmother, they tell you something to do, accept it, take accountability, and ride out. Don't blame anybody else but yourself. And oftentimes with me, I take accountability for some things that wasn't my fault. Not always, but there were times, okay, listen, I'll do it. I'll take care of it. I should have did that in the first place. Knowing that someone else failed in what they did. It makes you stronger when you think that way. But here are 10 areas where we must stop blaming the white man. Number 1, dropping out of school. Too many young brothers and sisters walk away from education. Then later, they complain that the system blocks them from opportunity. Yes, the system has traps, but refusing to learn basic skills is a trap you set for yourself. Education is not just about school. It's about discipline, focus, and building the future. The basic. We're not saying you have to be a rocket scientist, but to be able to hold a conversation with people from many different areas of expertise and being able to comprehend what it is that they do, what they're all about, and how you fit into the bigger world. But many of us refuse that and have no drive to go beyond their neighborhood. They go outside when they're young and just want to hang on the front stoop or in the corner. Yes, if you have friends and you're disciplined and you're in school and you're learning, you can go hang out with your friends. Nobody's saying you can't do that. But what kind of friends do you have? Will they lead you in trouble? Are they sharing something they learned? Oh, you know what I learned in school today? Did you know so and so and so? That's what needs to be done. Number 2, irresponsible parenting. Bringing child after child into the world without the means to provide is not the white man's fault. That is our fault. Children deserve stability. When we abandon that duty, we cannot hide behind the system. I remember reading a book many years ago, and from those who are downtrodden and living in the bad areas of the city, because they may not make as much money, and that can come from different things, but basically what many people call the hood. And all hoods are not all black, you know. I'm just saying, I'm speaking on black people now. That many live a life that they may feel hopeless. They may begin to understand that their opportunities are limited. And they're living in a very small, contained world that is controlled by other factions. So in this book, and I forgot what it was, the title, but trust me, I'm not lying about this. They basically said that if you're a woman, because you do carry the child, are sitting around, you might have a check coming in, another 2 weeks, but you got 5 days worth of food. The lights might be about ready to get cut off in 2 or 3 days. And you have that stress and frustration of being powerless. Well, guess what? What most would do? Let's order some Chinese food. Let's kick back and listen to some music. And let's get busy. And because you feel hopeless in your life, and the only pleasure in your life is to indulge in unprotected sex, because that feels real good. And that's an escape. I'm not going to even mention those who want to get the malt liquor and smoke a joint, play a little music. You know the bills need to be paid. You know there's things coming, but you want to escape for that night. And you end up conceiving a child in a sorry state of affairs. So if you can't handle those stresses with no children or several children that you already made from the same circumstances, why are you going to go back to the same thing? Why? Now, let me just add on. Out here in Ghana, where I'm living now, ain't no welfare. Ain't no welfare. Or I can say there isn't any welfare, but I'm going to say it that way. Ain't no welfare. Ain't no child support. Ain't no WIC. Ain't no food stamps. Ain't no free health care. Right? But those who you see have children here, they're going to have to saddle up and deal with it. And a lot of these young men here, they do the same thing. They just spray up into or just spray the garden freely and run off. Because it's a similarity here with the economy for those who are downtrodden. Sex and pleasure, that's the only escape. And they don't think into the future. So we have a lot of youngsters here who have to get out there in the street and hustle and sell things and do whatever they can do. But yet in America, you do have some opportunities that you can jump on, but the mentality, sex is like a drug. It's intoxicating. Oh my God, you do it before you go to sleep. It's the ultimate sleeping pill. But then you wake up again to a sorry state of affairs. Show some discipline. Take your time. Sex will be there. Sexual attraction, orgasms, as long as you're in good health, it will be there for you. It ain't going nowhere. The brothers, you can't say, well, you know, I lost my penis 3 years ago and I just haven't had an orgasm. It's attached to you unless you have a freak accident. Okay? I'm not going to go too much into that. We're going to keep this decent. Number 3, rejecting hard work. Many young men refuse to work unless their job pays 6 figures right away. Symbolically. Walking around idle, pants sagging, waiting for handouts. That is not oppression. That's straight laziness. Other communities come to America and work jobs that they hate, but they build. Why can't we? There were times when I was between good paying jobs, and I went and did security in a hotel for under $8 an hour just to keep the ball rolling. Then I got another good job. You got to keep your fists swinging in a fight. Every blow is not a knockout blow, but you have to keep your fists swinging. Like truck drivers, they don't get paid when those wheels are not turning. You got to keep the wheels turning. You got to keep moving. Movement is life. Idleness is death. Idleness, when earned from working, is still life. But if you're not striving, whether it's something you do on your own or some type of structured job that you get into, you got to keep your hands moving. Again, even if you hate it, like many who come to America might do. You got people from other countries who are doctors. There was a doctor from India when I was working in Home Depot. He was a straight up doctor. I forgot what his area of expertise was, but he had to work in Home Depot because they wouldn't acknowledge his degrees and his status. To a point, it got him in, but he had to come up through the ranks. And he was brilliant, but that's the way it is. And here he is working in Home Depot on his knees, cutting carpet, for people belittling him like he was just any Joe Blow. And he wasn't one of the Indian guys that had attitude. He was cool with me and cool with a lot of people. But I know I would have been pissed. I got to start all over again. Number 4, self-hate and division. Instead of unity, we tear each other down. We envy, we fight, we gossip, we betray. The white man does not force us to do this to each other. That is our choice. And it always seems to come up in different situations. You have many who profess great wisdom, great knowledge, a great love for Black people. And they're the first ones to try to slay the next man who is in their circle from rising. Smear gossip. Try to make it where the brother can't do anything because everybody has the wrong story. Oh, I've been through it personally, and many of you know the story. But it never ceases to amaze me, because when your destiny is to rise, those who come against you, who look like you, when you really know what you're all about and you really have discipline and self-worth, trust me, trust and believe, it won't stop you. It may delay you, but it won't stop you. It never will. So never lose that drive that you have. You might get knocked down for a second and frustrated a little bit, but you'll always rise up and come up on top, even when it's a setback, but it's not total defeat. Number 5, destroying our health. From drugs to reckless sexual behavior, we ruin our own bodies. HIV, AIDS, and other diseases spread in our community not because of racism, but because of our refusal to respect ourselves and live disciplined lives. We do it to ourselves. And I'm quite sure there's some of us who have a twisted mentality where we're going to find a way to blame the white man, find a way to blame the system. Yeah, the system is not always in our favor. It wasn't set up for us to thrive. But we can still have the discipline more so than what they think. Because anytime somebody tells me I can't do something, or tries to put roadblocks to stop me from doing something, and it's something that I want to do, I'm a long-suffering brother. I don't want to take 20 punches to land my one, but if I have to, I will. And when people see you rise, it's like they're seeing a ghost. Like they're seeing a ghost rise. It's crazy, but it's true. And if you haven't tasted that kind of scenario, I hope you don't. But just understand what's for you. It's for you. Nobody can stop you. Number 6, broken relationships. Too many of our women believe a man must already be rich before he's worthy. Too many of our men refuse to take the role of protector and provider. The breakdown of Black love cannot always be pinned on the white man. It is about the choices that we make. The same way we can't say that, oh, Black men are no good. Maybe the choices you made and the experiences that you had with those who you chose, unfortunately, weren't good. I'm not going to blame the sisters, but sometimes with some sisters, they end up choosing the same man in a different relationship. Take time and vet the person you're with. The same way we got brothers out here, oh man, these Black women ain't no good, whatever. Understand that Black women have been through so much. And you sit down and logically break things down when you talk to somebody who you're interested in, more so than just sex, right? Stop looking at them as objects of pleasure. They're human beings with feelings and emotions. Many are traumatized. Take time and get to know. You'd be surprised at the results. There are a lot of gems out here that have been abused. Now, there's some cray-cray women out here, and there's some cray-cray men out here that, to me, are beyond repair. I'm going to say it. So I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you can work along with everybody, but you don't have to be with everybody. You just have to be with the one. And to find that one, you got to get right with yourself. You got to do what it takes to make yourself better so that someone sees the good in you. Not just because you look good. Looks fade. But what is it about that man or that woman that lasts forever? Because the inner beauty, honestly, people say, oh, Scurv, you talking that corny talk. Now, you know you don't want to be with nobody that don't look good. But you know what? If I was single and there was a woman who had the way I think now, she had the attributes of decency and respect, and was a person who I didn't have to worry about running out on me, that in itself makes the woman beautiful. And the same for the man with the woman who's looking for the man. Of course you want somebody who takes care of himself. But we're so quick to throw away a relationship. But we're too quick to get into one without checking what this person's all about. So don't go and say, oh, they're all bad. No. No. Amp it up. Number 7, selling poison in our communities. Drug dealers destroy the very neighborhoods where their mothers and children live. They justify it by saying the system left them no choice. That is a lie. Other people find legal ways to hustle and grind. Why can't we? But it's all interrelated, because if we unified in our drive, we can do better legally. And I understand how the brothers say, yeah, left me no choice. I understand how you feel, but is that reality? Are you willing to do without? Are you willing to do without and sacrifice with a plan, a vision, a dream, a focus? And make yourself determined, show your greatness by pulling yourself up. But we have to unify, because you know what? When we help one person over the wall, they got to turn around and reach back to help pull us up, and we got to do the same. But our lack of unity makes it hard. I'm not saying you have to pull yourself up by yourself, but with our community destroyed in many places, once we make it, we're gone. We trying to flex and show off on the person. We're as strong as our weakest link. If the weakest link is weak, the chain ain't really strong because it's going to break at that point. Number 8, lack of unity in business. Look around. Other groups stick together when it comes to money. Indians, Chinese, Arabs, they may not like each other personally. They got their own dealings and beefs, but they understand unity in economics. Meanwhile, we avoid supporting each other's businesses and wonder why we stay behind. Always behind. It takes the whole community to support. I remember when I lived in Orlando, Florida, I believe it was Colonial Drive between Kirkman Road and where Pine Hills Road kind of bordered Colonial Drive. And I believe it was a strip mall, different stores next to each other, a big parking lot in front of it on the corner. And it was nothing but Chinese stores and shops. Now in Florida, as in many places, you have different counties. Right? You have Volusia County, Polk County, different counties. And I saw Chinese and other Asians who had different license plates on the bottom. Some of them said Orange County, right? They came from different counties. And I'm like, look at that one. I'm kind of forgetting the counties that are in Florida, but counties that were hundreds of miles away. And they find themselves as a family driving up to come to that string of businesses to support it because it was their people. And of course, culturally, they had foods there, certain types of meat, certain types of, prepared foods and Chinese products from China. Some made here in America and some there. And they came from far and they didn't have to do that. They had a bus company in there. I think they might have only had 2 or 3 buses. When the Chinese wanted to go to different parts of Florida and different parts of the country, they had to schedule up. They didn't go with Greyhound. They went with their own. And they welcome other people to shop there. Out of curiosity, I've been there several times and found things that I couldn't find anywhere else. But I always support my Black businesses. But I always keep an eye on what others are doing. And they will always be ahead because of that. They weren't looking for handouts. They weren't looking for hookups, because you know how it is with Black businesses. You have a Black business, he comes like, hey man, hey Black brother, give me a hookup. Let me get that at half price. Let me get that at what you pay for it. And lots of times in these stores, no matter what the race, the prices might be a little higher because they're not as big as a Walmart. They're not as big as a Target. It's not about that. It's about supporting your own. Yeah, there are things you might get at the other shops, but whenever you can support a Black business, you do so. But lots of times when we're starting a business, we get the mouth action. Yeah, man, I'm going to support you. Yeah, I'm going to be behind you, man. We got to stick and support our own. But as soon as you set it up, here come the faces looking droopy, looking defeated, looking upset, because you succeeded in setting it up. And you as a business owner wonder where all of these people, where they are, who said they're going to support you. Where are they? I ain't going to support that nigga business. Who we think he is? You know how challenging it is the first few years that you start a business? That's like having a spaceship that you think you can light a stick of dynamite under it to make it go up in space. You know how much power it takes for those rockets under the spaceship to push it through the stratosphere, into space. And those rockets fall back down to Earth after it serves the purpose. We don't really seem like we want to see success in each other. And I can talk about that all night. But I'm going to go to the next one. Number 9, playing the victim card. Some of us wake up every day looking for an excuse to say, the white man stopped me. This victim mentality robs us of our power. When you live as a victim, you hand over your control to others. I ain't doing it. I never did it. I'm not built that way. I wasn't raised that way. I get determined, and I'm going to blast through any obstacle that's in my way. It's going to get hurt. I'm going to knock it down. I'm going to run through it. If this is something that I want to do, and there's something that appears to be in my way, it's in trouble. And I'm not going to stop. See, I'm going to hurt a lot of feelings because I'm going to succeed anyway. People say, well, you're so big and tough. You should have stayed in America. You ran away from the white man. Ran away? Who is he I got to run away from? I live my life the way I choose. Where I am is where I wanted to be. If I wanted to stay in America and be successful and do what I had to do, yes, but why should I have to deal with certain things? But never would I say, the white man stopped me. I wish he would try to stop me. Never did, but I know the obstacles I'm up against. It doesn't mean that when you're in a boxing match, you have to go and take blows unnecessarily. The art of fighting is to hit your opponent and not get hit. A lot of things I'm not getting hit with over here. But still, my concern is at my root where I come from. There are challenges over here, far less. I know myself. I'm disciplined. I'm enjoying my discipline. And you can do that anywhere on the planet to live the way you want to live, to have that joy in your heart. Nobody's going to rob my joy. And I'm not blaming anybody and claiming to be a victim. Oh, I've dealt with racism severely, but never was I a victim. In my tangling with the enemy, I learned how the enemy fights. I learned how shrewd that enemy is, the system is. And once you learn your opponent, it's so easy to defeat your opponent when from within you have the discipline and the focus. I'll go to the ends of the earth with my discipline to prove a point to the world and to myself, because I already know that way I got it going on. And we need to have that confidence instead of always sitting down looking for that excuse. Oh, the white man, get out of here. As much melanin as I have inside of me, as much as I've been raised properly and had a wonderful father who told me things that I had to deal with in this life, I had to prepare for it, and a mother who grounded me on so many levels, on a spiritual level, even when I was living hedonistically, those seeds were planted inside of me. You can see a dry field or drive past it. Man, that field is dry. Ain't nothing going to grow over there. But you don't realize that might be the dry season and seeds were planted. And you come back in a few months and you see plush growth, vegetables and fruits, because you didn't know what was in that soil. What's in you that's being killed off right now because you're using the victim card and saying the white man did it to you? But many of you who are Christian or just religious people, I'm blessed and highly favored, but you walk around defeated because in your mind, the white man stopped me. So you dissing God, the one who made it all. You look out over the horizon, you say, oh yeah, God is wonderful and he made all of this. Do you know how small the earth is? Do you know how far light years are? You know how fast light is? And it will say 365,000 light years away. Oh my God. Only thing faster than that is the speed of thought. And some of us think so slow. I don't know about that. We're on a speck of dust, y'all. Yet we are great. And all we can say is that the white man stopped us. That control. Too many of us, and this is number 10, ignoring the future. Too many of us live only for today. No savings, no investments, no plans. Then, when we hit rock bottom, we cry about the system. We have to stop this cycle and plan for our children and grandchildren. You wouldn't believe how much I ran up and down today. I got a project that we're doing this week coming in, and I got up and I was all over Ghana. And I got it right. And I know I'm going to have to wake up early in the morning because the people I have coming here is 12:41, but that's okay. I'm going to get it done. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to go on home, man. I can't. Because when you're working along with people, they may not take the project so serious, or they may be a little lackadaisical or slower. When I'm going out to get things done, I'm on a mission. I ain't trying to play. I got up today and left out the house and didn't even eat anything. I wasn't really hungry. I said, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and force it. Hunger will come. And in the middle of my dealings, I ran out of local phone service on the cell phone, on the outside internet, because I have my own satellite at the house. So I never really worry about that. But the outside is different out here. So I had to top that off and get that going, because I'm like, why are my calls not going through? It always goes through at home because I got my Starlink. Yeah, and I don't like Elon Musk, but that's a wonderful invention. Way up remote where I can unlimited 24/7 do my thing, even when local stuff fails. Right? Because this is what I do. But yeah, we ignore the future. Accountability is power. When you accept responsibility, you take power back from the system. No matter how corrupt the system is, personal discipline can shield you from some of its traps. Self-control, family unity, financial planning, and moral responsibility are tools the system cannot take from us. I'm going to say it again. The white man can't take these things from you. The system can't take these things from you. Self-control, family unity, financial planning, and moral responsibility. These are tools the system cannot take away from us. And as I always say, stop waiting on reparations alone. Yes, reparations are owed, but while we wait, we cannot sit still in irresponsibility. The bills still come. The children still need food. The world still moves forward. We must prepare ourselves whether reparations come tomorrow or never, because like I always say, we got so much within ourselves as individuals and as a community to repair that we are our own reparations. We are our own reparations. We got so much to repair. If you decide this Saturday is a day that you're going to clean up and then you're going to go out on Saturday night, well, you have your family and you know you're going to wipe down the windows. But when your family member goes out to get the window cleaner, you going to sit down? Don't you got floors to sweep? Don't you have surfaces to wipe down? Don't you have a refrigerator to clean out? Don't sit there and wait for one aspect of it. Get busy on the other sides. We can do multiple things at one time if we plan and do it smoothly. You'd be surprised how much stuff Mrs. Scurv gets done effortlessly. And when I stay up late at night doing shows, when I wake up, I'm like, you did all that work? You moved that heavy thing? Why didn't you call me? Well, you were sleeping and I didn't want to wake you up. Like, wow. We can do so much more than we think that we can. But also understand that real unity requires work. Unity is not just talk, and most of us do that. It is sacrifice, patience, and forgiveness. Other groups succeed in America because they practice economic unity. If we do not learn to do the same, blaming the white man will not change our reality. So if you have a business and you need some simple things done, and you have some children in your neighborhood that are of a certain age that can do simple tasks, go to their parents and say, listen, I want to pay them to do, with your permission. And any parent in their right mind would want that, because it shows the child that when you make an effort to work, you earn. You work, you earn. You strive, you gain. My father had me working with his business from single-digit ages, just to teach me that principle, that if you make an effort in something that's structured, you'll get paid. And he gave me a little more than I deserved, but he was teaching me not to just ask him for something, but to ask him for something to do so I can get something. So I built this pride. I saved up this money. You see, I was 11 years old in 1974. And in the summertime, I worked with my father on the weekends and all through the summer. My parents were together, but when I had no school, it had to be the weekends or any other day during the week. I cut lawns. I helped people in the neighborhood with stuff. They gave me money, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more, but I saved. And in that season, I saved up $500 for an 11-year-old in 1974, because I wanted to go to the comic book convention. There were a handful of us that were saving our money to do so. And I was determined. It was also like a righteous race. Yes. How much you got? Oh, I got 250. Man, I got 324. You see what I mean? We weren't hating on each other. Not one bit. But you have to instill that in their mind in their mind. You see? The system is corrupt, but excuses are deadly. We got to stop blaming the white man for everything. The mirror is where we find the truth. What are you made of? We cannot drop out of school, refuse to work, have children without stability, spread disease, or sell poison to our own people and then cry about racism. This is not justice. That is self-destruction. You remember when all the rappers got together, I think it was back in 1988, and they sung the song Self-Destruction, you're headed for self-destruction. Look at this now. We didn't learn from that time. The youngsters can still pull that song up on YouTube. And we're worse off than ever before. But it doesn't mean we can't turn it around. But I wouldn't say invest in people who have no clue, and when they hear it, they reject it. We got to leave certain people alone, y'all. If you don't want to learn how to swim and somebody throws you in the water, we'll try to save you, but I won't let you pull me in. We cannot waste time pointing fingers while other communities build and grow. Our lack of accountability is a chain we place around our own necks. Break the cycle. Welcome on in. I got so hyped. I'm missing people. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm going to acknowledge you in the chat room in a second. See, the white man has played his part. I'm falling asleep, y'all. I got to get into bed soon. He played its part in oppressing us. That much is true. But what about the role we play in oppressing ourselves? Until we face that, we will stay stuck. I say this out of love. Tough love, yes, but love. We are a powerful people. We can rise higher than the system, but only if we stop blaming and start building. Stop blaming and start building. That's the only way we're going to do it, y'all. To the end of time, for all my time on this earth and in my life, even after I'm gone, that's going to be the secret. And it ain't really no secret. It isn't. Yes. I dropped a line here, a link, rather. If anybody wants to come in and say anything briefly, come on in. You want to make a point, make a statement, feel free. I'm going to give it a few minutes. I got a lot of action tomorrow here, but I will be doing shows tomorrow for sure. But I'm looking forward to it. You have to strive. You have to make every day count. My friend Carlos, who you've heard recently from some of the older shows, he had a sign in his hallway, "Make today count." That impressed me. I always knew about that anyway, by the way we were raised, but what are you going to do when today comes, a new day that you have planned? What are you going to do to make it count? It doesn't mean that every day has to be this Olympic effort where you're looking to get a gold medal, but have some kind of plan. Even if you plan to rest so that the subsequent days can be more effective. You don't want to run yourself down, y'all. We live in this society where it's always push, 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 push. Look, when you go shopping, you evidently have money to spend. But sometimes it's good to go window shopping when you might be broke, because you can think better on what you might need. I see people in America get their tax returns and they're running around like a chicken with the head cut off because they got money in their pocket now and they just want to spend. You can't do it that way. You have to be a sharpshooter. When I go into a place that I know I'm going to have to spend some money, I'm in and out, right? I know what I need. I know what I want. And I try my best to leave the wants behind and get what I need. I had some major running around to do today. And when I came back, what did I bring back? Honestly, I could have spent and bought all of this stuff. No, it wasn't for that. I spent a lot on what was necessary for this work to be done. When I came back, I needed a new can opener. I got a can opener. I brought back some toilet paper. What else is the other thing that I bought? It wasn't food. I had this little bag, and that was it. I could have got distracted by the city lights and this for sale, and here, you want to buy this? No. I'm not spending any more than I have to. I'm not wasting any energy on any dispute with a foolish mind. You can't argue with a fool. Now, who am I to call a person a fool? I really don't feel people are fools. They're born that way. They choose to be that way. But they may see that you have a little sense about you, and they want to drag you down into an argument so they can win the argument, so they can feel good in their ignorance. I don't play those games. Once I sniff your ignorance, I'm out. I want to use every piece, every bit of my energy to push me forward. So I'm very, very calculating. You got people that come around you that they're determined to waste your time. They're not going anywhere, but they want to hold you in this one spot with this frivolous, going nowhere conversation and emotionalism. What's the solution? What are we going to do about it? How can we be better for tomorrow? Better, not bitter. If you don't take care of business and you see other people progressing, you're going to get bitter. I'm trying to get better, Not better than you or the next person, but better within my own scope, my own standard. You see? But there's so much that we have to be accountable for. I have no time to blame any external factor, but I have internal factions that need to be adjusted, brought up, corrected, and repaired. And then you attract great energy to you from this universe when you work on yourself and make sure that you have a goal and you're brutally honest with yourself, not in denial. Because even though the title of this particular dialogue is Stop Blaming the White Man, it's time for accountability. Sometimes and oftentimes it's not just the white man, but you blame the person who you go to bed with every night, your mate. It's their fault. You'll blame your neighbor. It's their fault. You blame your family. It's their fault. And yes, trauma is real. Childhood trauma is real. I wrote about that. The article is on Lancescurvx.com. But if you don't acknowledge that trauma, you can't even use that as an excuse over a lifetime. You got to face it. It's not a happy thing. It's not a feel-good thing. But when you clean your house and it's in a mess, who wants to be bothered? But you got to do it. And you'll be surprised how quickly you elevate when you get into the accountability. I'm not blaming nobody. Look, there's a lot of things I can blame. I can blame a lot of situations. But the more I'm accountable is the more I'm empowered. And that's a fact. But I'm going to wrap it down now. I want to thank everybody for coming through. Domenico, you're from South Africa. I can't pronounce your last name properly. What is it? Gualtieri. I'm going to come down to South Africa soon. I was invited down there before COVID, but you know how that went. But I will be down there. A lot of things that I'm interested in. Just as well as it's all over the motherland and all over the world. There's time for that. So I just want to thank you for being here with me tonight. It's always a pleasure to see my family here. Thank you, Sister Reese. I'm sorry for not acknowledging and break the cycle. I see you here. Of course, Diane. Let me just go through everybody now and just make sure. Charles Wilson, the Malt Network. Of course, Diane again, Landon Price. And I think early on, that's pretty much it. As well as the people who are watching, Sweetberry 32, of course. NFN Shaka, you came in so early, I didn't even see it. Wow, I'm sorry. But anyway, I'll be back on tomorrow night, maybe a little earlier. And when a lot of this work gets done, it'll be the set time, always guaranteed. And the extras will always come because I want to increase the content. Yes. But go to Lancescurv X and join up there. And I have all kind of stuff on there as time goes by. But thank you all very much. Take care. Much love. And we're going to continue this tomorrow. Thank you so much. And since you like this song so much, I'm always going to play it. Thank you. Peace out.